Well, howdy, 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 and welcome to the Red Dirt Aggie Show. I'm Brian, the Red Dirt Aggie, and that over there is
J-Rod, Jarrod Morris.
what's going on, man? How you doing today?
I'm great. Actually got some horses this morning, and then I played some golf with one of my best friends, and so I'm actually here in my truck. I played golf
Well,
this afternoon.
you played golf. Where'd you play golf at?
I'm from North Texas, so right here in Denton, just north of
Right.
Fort Worth.
All right, right on. So yeah, I'm down in the Houston area, but well, I guess like an hour north of Houston in Magnolia. But I've got a lot of friends up there well, I guess my friends are over in Dallas, which is an hour from Fort Worth and a completely different thing. But
Yeah, yeah. We don't talk about Dallas too much.
yeah, no. Yeah, no, and being from Houston, I didn't realize that the first few times I went up there, I'm like, hey, why don't we go to Fort Worth? And they're like, well, because it's like over an hour away. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
everywhere from that isn't from there, they're like, oh, the Dallas Fort Worth area, but it's two completely different things.
Yeah, a lot of people don't quite realize that, but it's gotten
Yeah,
crazier here in the last few years just because of the traffic. It used to not be that bad to like get over to Dallas, but now it's gotten pretty crazy.
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, just like everywhere else, man, everywhere's growing. Even here in Magnolia, there's construction all over the place. I've been getting nails in the tires on our cars like crazy. Like my wife, I went and was fixing her car the other day, and then literally as I'm going to like pick it up, I go out and I look at my car, and there's a nail in my tire, and I'm like, oh my god, like
Uh,
back to discount tire, back and forth.
yeah, that's tough, dude. Hey, at least you get those free flat tire fixes at Discount Tire, huh?
Yeah, they got the certificates.
Yeah, quick plug, Discount Tire, sponsor of the podcast.
Yeah, please, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
We love us some discount tire. Yeah, I got certificates on all my tires from there, man. Yeah, they do a great job with all that. But yeah, man. So I was doing my research as I always do before these, and came across you're a let me if I say this right, you're a horseshoer, right? You make horseshoes, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I don't make a ton of them, but yeah, I shoe horses, so we put shoes on, yeah, horses' feet, basically, metal shoes. Yeah, I've done that for a long time, like since the end of high school. And so, yeah, I mean, that was the thing that at least helped subsidize a lot of my music career. And then in the last couple years, I finally was able to, I mean, if you want to call it, go full time in music, which basically for me just meant that I didn't have to shoe horses anymore. I think
Right.
the whole full time in music thing is kind of, I don't know, to a degree, it's BS because, like, I don't know, full time in anything is like, I don't even actually know what that means because I ran two businesses for a long time. So it was just
Right.
nonstop. My whole life revolved around either music or shoeing horses. So I don't even really to me, like having one full time job just feels like almost part time in a way
Yeah.
because I'm just not grinding
Right.
so hard. So that's been cool. That's been great. That was like one of my main goals was to just not have to bend over for a living. So we did that. So that's exciting.
Yeah, not yeah. Luckily, you get to play standing up, so that's good.
I only
That's
bend
over.
over sometimes, on stage, just sometimes.
Only, but yeah, and that's obviously the ultimate goal with anything, to be doing it full time, like you said. But that's the thing, I do this podcast, on the side, but it's a lot of work. People don't realize, recording and editing and all that. It takes a lot of time, and then I have to also have a job that makes money to
Yeah,
pay for it because
totally.
podcasting, unfortunately, there's not a lot of money in it really,
No,
or
totally.
any.
Yeah, any if all at all.
So we're looking for sponsors on an unrelated note.
Yeah, sure.
So
Yeah,
while
I
we're
mean,
here,
if you want, extraordinary outcomes, you're gonna have to put in inputs, which is easier said than done. A lot of people like the extraordinary outcomes without putting in the extraordinary work. But
yeah,
in the
always gotta make money.
entertainment biz, you're gonna have to do some pretty extraordinary things for sure.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure. But so, what kind of got you into music in the first place? What like drew you into wanting to do music in the first place? When did you first pick up playing or singing or writing or just any of it?
It was at the end of high school. I just had a lot of buddies that played the guitar. It was very much so like just hanging out with people, enjoying music, a lot of jamming. I was pretty into like blues music, so there was a
Right.
lot of just jamming and playing the electric and doing that, trading off solos and stuff. I didn't really get into the songwriting thing quite as much until college. That's been an interesting thing, even with like kids in high school right now. I feel like they're paying more attention to lyrics than probably previous generations, which is pretty dope. But on
Yeah.
the flip side, they don't really listen to the music quite as much. Like the actual musical composition isn't quite as important to them as it maybe was for previous generations. You know, we would listen to some like pretty trash songwriting, but like the arrangements were dope and like the guitars were put together really cool. And then now it's kind of flip flopped a little bit. Like unless you have super honest, sincere, meaningful lyrics, nobody really wants to hear it. So I'm hoping, and my whole thing is like trying to do both. Like I want to have interesting
Right.
music and dope sounding stuff that's really unique, while still writing in a way that's relatable and very authentic and genuine. I think you could get. There's been a lot of artists that have kind of been able to do both of those, and I think those are the ones that have
Right.
like a lot of longevity. So that's always what I'm trying to do. Typically missing the mark, but that's the goal.
Well, and it's it's hard to be truly extraordinary at both, like you were saying earlier, being extraordinary because it's like you might write an incredible song, but there's just like one piece that's missing, or like I get what you're saying because there's some people out there in the business or whatever that are just pure songwriters, and then you have people that maybe play them better than the people that wrote them, and it's just
Sure.
I don't know. That's crazy to me. But trying to be able to do both is obviously the end goal. But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, and I think it's interesting you mentioned that too. People paying more attention to lyrics now. You think about back in I don't know, back in like the late '90s or early 2000s when I'm not sure how old are you. I mean, I don't know. I'm like 28. I'm thinking like
33.
when we were growing up. Okay. So like in the 2000s and the late 90s and all that, when it was pop punk was big, and a lot of it was kind of it was cool, like rock and roll, like music and stuff, but the lyrics were real simple,
Oh yeah.
and it was catchy. And now it's kind of come around to where the music is more simple, but the
Yeah.
lyrics are what's so catchy,
Yeah, for sure.
or not so catchy, but are so like deep and meaningful rather than
Yeah, and they might not be the pushback from some older generations on, especially in the country world. Uh, the pushback on that from them would typically be like, well, there's no story in these songs. Like
yeah,
our generation and younger people, like they're actually not quite as interested in the story as they are. They really like just kind of epic, like one-off lines, and it's a little bit driven by the social
yeah,
media thing because you have like 10 seconds to make one little lyrical line hit, and then everybody wants to use it
yeah,
when they're whatever walking up to their truck, and then some freaking flashing filter does its thing and it'll like just have the lyric for that song, right? So
right,
everything's got its drawbacks, but that's kind of art. Like things ebb and flow, and a lot of times any type of art, whether you're building a house or painting a picture or writing a song or making movies, they're typically like
yeah,
reflections of like what society is feeling and what society is wanting for the most part. um,
yeah.
and uh, and so yeah, that's just kind of where we're at, is like people have a relatively short attention span. They want depth, but they want it very, very quickly. So like it would be,
Yeah.
they want a lot of depth but not a lot of length.
Hey, yo. No. Clip
That's
it.
pretty funny. You need to cut that clip right there.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Oh, yeah, we will. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Society wants a lot of
That's
depth but not
good.
a lot of length.
A lot of depth and not
But
a lot
see,
of
that
length.
doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even really make sense. I mean, if we're talking about a sexual innuendo, those are both the same thing, right?
Yeah, depth and length. Yeah.
But I guess I'm talking like
That.
3D, right? So depth, but then also going sideways. Anyways, these are the debates I have going on in my head.
Oh man. But yeah, no, I know what you're trying to say. I know what you're trying to say, and it's just there's been that shift, and it's with the newer generation or whatever. But it always comes back around too. So maybe in a few years it'll go back to how it was too. It seems to be like whatever is happening now is a reflection of what's happened in the past too. Like,
You mean people want more length?
yeah, they'll want it longer and deeper.
I just want it deeper for longer.
He threw me off. Yeah, so I know you've been working on those the cowboy covers. So can you tell me a little bit about that? I know you've got some new cowboy covers coming up that are coming out soon.
Yeah. My buddy Robbins was my my grandfather's favorite artist. So yeah, I thought it'd be cool to put out some that maybe haven't been covered quite as much. So
Right.
and then I snagged one from my favorite like old Western movie. It's a John Wayne movie, Rio Bravo. So I covered a song called My Rifle, Pony, and Me. And then after that, we did like a Johnny Cash song. And then all the rest of them are Marty Robbins tunes, but they're a little bit more deep cuts. Like I didn't want to do like El Paso, and everybody's done Big Iron. So I wanted to do some other ones. There's one called Master's Call that actually comes out at the end of this month, or maybe at the beginning of June. And it's my favorite Marty Robbins tune ever. And a lot of people haven't heard it, but it's pretty awesome. It's really awesome. And Marty actually wrote it too, which is not the case for all of those songs. A lot of them are like old covers. Like one of them's a freaking cover tune from like the freaking early 1900s or something. But Marty wrote Master's Call, which is pretty badass. So I'm excited about that one.
Well, that's cool. It's kind of giving those as much older songs like new life for a new generation to kind of enjoy them through you.
I hope so. People would be surprised. Yeah. Like you play these college bars and there's like 18, 20-year-old, 21-year-old kids like screaming El Paso at the top of their lungs. So it hits for sure. And it might be the only time in our life that this stuff is popular right now. So I'm like, shoot, let's do it.
Well, yeah, people are kind of wanting to go back to that like more classic sound lately, and
sure,
that's probably why it's hitting for sure. But being a musician, I'm sure you're on the road a lot. Like you said, you're going around and playing college towns and different places. When you're on the road and you stop at a gas station, what's your go-to gas station snack or drink?
Freaking Allsup's burrito, baby.
Allsup's burrito. So you're rolling the dice though with gas station burritos,
dude. Topo Chico and Allsup's burrito. Come on, dog.
What's in an Allsup's burrito? I don't know. I don't know that I've had one.
These are not questions that's a lot like questioning somebody why they want it deeper for longer. These are questions that we don't ask.
Questions that you just don't want to know the answer.
No, you don't. You don't want to ask it because you don't want to know the answer. That's the truth. That's the cold hard truth.
But then you one of those, you might need to stop at another gas station known as Buc-ee's later to use the restroom.
Those clean bathrooms.
Those clean bathrooms.
Yeah. Blow them out. We were on a pretty bad roll there for a while. We were on the road. It was like every gas station we would stop at, we would go into the bathroom and somebody had just absolutely obliterated it and split apart. And we'd get back in the van and just be like, all right. Because it got to a point where it was like 6 gas stations in a row. And we were like, okay, what is going on here? So then, of course, we started joking like there was somebody in the band that would get in there first and blow it up. We're like, who is doing this? Never figured it out. It was the Phantom Pooper. We weren't sure. We thought it might be somebody following us. It was a grand conspiracy to try to ruin the bathrooms before we got there. But it's tough. It's tough out there.
There's someone like following your tour path just like 5 minutes ahead of you, just
exactly
all the bathrooms,
just to blow up the bathroom. They hated my music that much. That's another level of hatred.
Yeah, man, that's like advanced hatred. That's not just hatred. That's advanced hatred.
I can do that to people. You spend enough time with me.
But so remind me again, where are you from, man?
Decatur, just north of Fort Worth.
So Decatur's just north of Fort Worth. You live there all your life, or?
Yeah, for the most part. Like, I mean, in that North Texas area, like there was a little town I lived at, 45 minutes kind of northeast of there, Gainesville. But went to high school in Decatur. I've lived there for a long time. I was originally born in Tampa, Florida, and then we moved out to Texas when I was like in the 4th grade or something. And
Okay.
so yeah, I grew up out here.
Yeah, and then so like being, from up near Fort Worth, I'm sure did that have like an influence on you with music? I'm sure there's a lot, go over to the stockyards and there's just all
Yeah.
sorts of places with live music and songwriters and stuff
Yeah,
going on all the time.
the funny thing about the stockyards is like now it's super super popular, and it was popular
Yeah.
growing up and in high school and college, but not nearly like it is now. You always had the rodeo crowd that was going there,
Right.
bro. Like before they had the NFR there, whatever that was, like a few years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, it was pretty sketchy, and it was getting even sketchier. Like my wife, she runs barrels, and she had her tack room broken into over there and like had that
Oh
sucker
shoot.
cleaned out of her trailer, and it was
Dang.
pretty sketchy. Like I had a buddy that almost got stabbed there. We had some people that like tried
Oh
to freaking
dang.
have a gunfight with us down there during college, and then and then it cleaned it up big time, and it got a lot better. But that was honestly like relatively recently. But we would go down there to like Neon Moon and Cadillacs and stuff like that. But it
Mhm.
wasn't booming the way it is now, and it's awesome to see
Right.
because that's like a really cool historical area. So I'm glad to see that it got turned around a little bit.
Well, yeah, and continuing on that topic of music venues and stuff too. What is your like ultimate like dream music venue that you want to play in one day?
Ultimate dream music venue.
You can give me one Texas one and one just like anywhere.
Dude, I'm probably like a terrible one. I'm not very sentimental,
Right.
and I don't know. I just don't get like super super wound up by some of that stuff. But what I will say is like some of these places that are really popular, huge venues, like I've gotten to go to them for the first time, like when I play them. Like a
Right.
Green Hall, or I say huge, like huge in my world. Like Green Hall's, big, and then Kane's Ballroom. I just played Kane's like a week or so ago
Oh
up
yeah.
in
A lot of
Tulsa.
history there.
And like Green was really cool, but Kane's, like they almost set it up a little bit like it's a museum. So around the outside of it, you have all these pictures of all these old legends and stuff. And there's just
Yeah.
something about sound check in those places because it's quiet and there's not a lot of people in there. You're able to kind of, I guess you're able to soak it in a little bit more. Like during the show, you're just focused,
Yeah.
you're just doing your thing, and you're almost so in the moment that you're like not in the moment.
Yeah.
And I don't, that's like sounds really weird, but it's hard to describe.
Like you don't have a chance to really think about what
Yeah,
you're doing or where you're
yeah,
playing. You're just kind of like so
yeah.
focused on
Yeah, you are
playing and doing it
so in the
right.
moment. You're
Locked
only
in.
reacting and doing. You don't have a chance to even really think. Yeah, you actually
Right.
described that better than I could. When you sit there and sound check, like in a Canes, and you just kind of look around, I usually get goosebumps, because you just think of, like, I'm playing my little songs up there, and you just think about all the other musical notes that were played in that same place with that same reverb and like bouncing off that same wood. I mean, that's like the only times that I
Yeah.
get like a little bit sentimental about it. It's just cool. It's like, I don't think humbling's the right word. If anything, that would make you more egotistical. You know what I mean? It's just like a cool thing to sit in and just be like, damn, you know?
Well, yeah, and you're like, dang, like I'm playing here where all these other got stuff have played. Like that means I'm doing something right. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
like I'm sure it's a good feeling for that.
Yeah.
Feel like
Or I
you're
just
making
know the right
progress.
people, That's why I'm there.
Yeah, yeah, that's one thing that it's all about who you know in this world, in the music world.
Yeah, I haven't done a
For
great
sure.
job of that. That is for sure. I'm a lone wolf.
Yeah, and it's hard to going out and meeting everyone, talking to everyone all the time. I'm sure too, but
Yeah, especially when you're
uh,
just like actually doing it. I was more focused on just making music and like putting it out. I don't really want to, like, I don't know. It's like I can only go to the bar and talk about what I'm gonna do so much.
right.
There's a lot of that in our industry. It's like, okay, bro, that's cool. Well, why don't you call me tomorrow at 9 a.m. and we'll see what you're doing. I know you're talking about doing it right now, but tomorrow morning, are you going to be doing it? I'm more interested in that, right?
Right. Like the actions speaking louder than words, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Right. Like the old saying. Yeah.
yeah.
And so, tell me a little bit. What's your favorite song that you have out right now that you've written?
Mm. It'll be I mean, the one that I guess is the most sentimental to me, that means the most, and I get a little bit choked up playing it live, but there's one called Anvil Stand, and it's only because it's so specific to like who I am and my journey. And like the only way you write that song is if you're like a freaking horseshoer that just grinded it out and then wrote some songs and then kind of gradually got at least a little bit of a fan base, but it's still grind. And it's just so specific. And I think it's really, really unique. But yet then because it's so specific and so unique, it's actually like oddly very relatable to anybody trying to do anything out of the ordinary. Yeah, I would say that that one's the most meaningful, but it's not even
Right.
necessarily the one that I like the most because there's, you know, music serves different purposes at different times, different points in your lives. Like obviously, if I'm freaking just sitting there trying to like yuck it up with the boys and have a beer, I'm not listening to that song. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
right, but I mean, it's it depends on. There's a time and a place for every song, but
yeah, for sure.
for sure. Um, and then, so what would you say is your your ultimate goal for your career as a musician, or do you have one, or are you already doing it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm kind of already like doing a lot of it. I'm actually, I think I said this the other day to somebody, but like I'm not actually even like a huge fan of like goals and dreams. Cuz it's never going to be like exactly like you dreamt it. It's never going to, you're never going to like hit the goal and then it's going to finally you're going to be at the summit of everything and it's like this is finally what I've been working for and now it's the ultimate satisfaction. It just does, life doesn't work like that.
Then you're
And
just
what
gonna want more goals.
And like obviously I have goals, but I usually try to just turn them into like daily goals. Like I want to do my best every day and I want to treat people right and I want to do nice things for other people. I want to try to like think about others and empathize with others' situations. Like I don't want to like lose that. Not that I like do that all the time perfectly or anything, but I want to like always like care about other people and I don't want to get too focused on just like monetary gain for myself, bigger house, bigger cars, nicer stuff. Like I just want
Right.
to I want to keep the main thing like what's most important in life and I would say that that's actually my goal. And you can hit that goal not doing music, and you can hit that goal being poor, and you can hit that goal freaking being rich. So life ebbs and flows, and some people make money, some people lose money. But to me, it's a little bit more like how you do it rather than what you do.
Right.
So I just hope that I'm able to keep somewhat of a clear mind in regards to that. I would say that that's like my goal.
Right. And I mean, that's and like you said, you're doing music full time, right? Like
Yeah.
we said, full time. But that's really probably one of your goals as it was, right? Like just to
Yeah.
have that as your career, be able to like make enough just enough money to be able to do that full time and put all of your energy into that, right?
Yeah.
Like yeah, and I
Yeah,
mean,
and if
that's
along the journey though, if you're too focused on like, so for me specifically, if I'm too focused on like not having to shoe horses anymore, because I hate shoeing horses. It's I got a broken back and I'm hurting and like I don't want to do this anymore. And I'm so good at music and I deserve to be a blah 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 blah. If you're too focused on like that end goal, you probably don't write Anvil Stand, right? Like you can't sit
yeah,
in the moment and be like, damn, what a journey. That was great. This is great. This is still great. So a lot of times you just gotta freaking goals and dreams are cool or whatever, but sometimes just like you're in traffic, like put the car in park and roll down your window and look at the sunset.
yeah, live in the moment.
Yeah.
Enjoy what you got going on at that time, and then just keep grinding.
Yeah, and like do your best though. Like do your best in
Yeah,
the moment. Don't like go with apathy where you're just like, well, I'm just whatever happens happens. It's like, well, okay. I guess
but
my
no,
point is like,
you keep trying to make it happen, but
yeah,
at the same time, don't get caught up if it's not happening yet.
yeah, totally,
You gotta
yeah,
be patient. You gotta have that patience, and I struggle with that sometimes too, because my ultimate goal or whatever would be to do this kind of stuff, full time, and I'm working towards that, and I've made a lot of progress. Built up followers, whatever, social media, and then the next step will be to start trying to get sponsors and all that. And I'm constantly working on it all the time, but at the same time, like I know I got to still have a job to make money, pay bills and
Yeah,
all that. But
yeah, there ain't nothing
uh,
like that.
but no, just keep grinding and making content, and hopefully we'll be there someday. So,
Yeah, sure.
but so you got the cowboy covers coming soon. Any show announcements or other new songs that you want to share with us while you're here on the show that you want to tell us about
Yeah, I've
coming
got
soon?
a couple more. I got Master's Call and another one called Strawberry Roan coming out, and then I'm releasing music all the time, so it's
Right.
like the easiest thing to do is like follow me on Spotify or follow me on Apple Music or any of the social media stuff, and then hopefully you'll be able to see when it comes out. And then if you haven't heard from me in a while, there's a good chance that you missed all of it because I've already released new music. But go look it up because I just release music all the freaking time. So
Yeah. Are you playing a lot of shows and stuff too around Texas, or where are you usually playing at?
yeah, some. I mean, this summer's we're not playing like a whole ton. Like I co-produce and record all my music and play on all my records, and I write all the songs. So that takes up like a tremendous amount of my time. Like I'm in the studio.
Yeah.
I'm in the
Right.
studio every single week. That's my that's kind of me committing to the journey. Like I want to be able to put out as much music as I possibly can. So it just takes time, and I don't have a huge infrastructure around me. So uh, we're playing. We've got shows like in Colorado and Wyoming and Idaho. And then in August, we'll have a bunch more like in Texas and Oklahoma. August and
Right.
September.
Right on. So I got a question for you. As a Texas artist, and this is important. Here in Texas to some people, beans belong in chili.
No, I mean, I just don't like beans. I
so
just am
so it's
not
a
a
no from
beans,
you.
especially I think it's the type of beans. I don't really mind beans in chili, but it's I just don't like kidney beans. I think kidney
Yeah.
beans are freaking weird. They have a weird taste. There's like this weird dryness to them. Anyways, I'm all about like just doing what you want and liking what you like, regardless of anybody else. So I'd say
Yeah.
if it pisses people off, then put beans in your chili.
Hey man, I put beans in my chili. I'm a beans and chili guy.
Yeah,
Rico
just own
Tool's
it.
a beans and chili guy.
Yeah.
Everyone else in Texas is not. Is what I've noticed. A lot of people pisses a lot of people off, and it's kind of fun. So
Oh yeah. Well,
so we
like
say Team Beans over here.
most things, people get pretty worked up about stuff that they think is like the way it's supposed to be.
Oh yeah, yeah. With anything, man. If there's a controversial topic, it's been debated somewhere on the internet. Oh my goodness. Well, I just want to say thanks for taking the time to come on today and hang out, man. I've appreciated having you on here.
Yeah.
But this has been the Red Dirt Aggie Show. I'm Brian, the Red Dirt Aggie. That over there is
J-Rod.
J-Rod, Jarrod Morris, and we appreciate having you on. As always, gig 'em and God bless, and we'll see you next time.
Adios.